that he died of a heart attack. Indicated CPR was in progress. So I believe probably it is more likely than not that he died of a heart attack. He's an older guy, Southern gentleman, so he probably wasn't that healthy. And the simplest explanation is usually the best. I'm sure he just died. However, and I will say this about the death, the timing of his passing is coincidental. Now, I know that all last week I have been railing against the conspiracy theorists who say that Charlie Kirk was not killed by Tyler Robinson, which is the official narrative, the official government story. And people say, why don't you believe that Charlie Kirk was killed in some conspiracy? And I say, well, first of all, there's not really any good evidence of that. And second of all, there's really no reason to doubt the official story when college campuses are a hotbed of left-wing extremism. Charlie Kirk does hundreds of campus events every year. Left-wingers are increasingly violent, and Charlie Kirk became one of the most famous conservatives in the country. And so just from a statistical point of view, this was totally out of the ordinary. He was at a campus like any other campus on a day like any other day. And according to the official narrative, a radicalized left-wing young man got up on a perch and shot him and killed him. Now, in this story, there may be some motive for someone else to want him dead, and there might be some circumstantial evidence that maybe he was killed for changing his opinion, but there's no real coincidence. Sometimes these things do just happen. However, with Lindsey Graham, there is a true coincidence. And you know, what is a coincidence? Well, it means that two things coincide with one another, okay? Two incidents go together. That's what a coincidence is. That's not the case with Charlie Kirk. There's nothing there. He's a conservative, a liberal shot him. Unfortunately, this is becoming common. However, with Lindsey Graham, his death came almost exactly. If we look at the time it takes to travel from Ukraine back to D.C., it appears that he died almost precisely, or maybe even a little bit too early, from the amount of time it takes to travel from Ukraine back to Washington, D.C. This weekend, he was in Ukraine, leading an official delegation, touring a drone manufacturing facility. After he left that facility was destroyed by Russia in a missile strike. And then, in the exact amount of time that it would take Lindsey Graham, even on VIP travel type logistics, exactly when he returned home, or maybe even a little bit too early, he was suddenly dead of a heart attack at his house. Now, when you look at what is happening in Ukraine, this is a war that is escalating. It's not like Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine at any time in the Ukraine conflict, because the conflict's been going on for 4.5 years. So for a politician to die in a span of 4.5 years is not crazy. In the span of 4.5 years, you expect that somebody over the age of 70 out of 100 people is going to die. But it wasn't just any time that he died. He died immediately after returning from Ukraine. And he didn't die at any time returning home from Ukraine. He died when the conflict is escalating more than a lot of people even realize. There is legitimate discussion in Russia about crossing over into a NATO country over their border. There was a report from France last week that Russia was contemplating a plan to go across the Polish border in some kind of operation to test NATO's resolve. Vladimir Putin is pressuring Lukashenko in Belarus to allow Russia to open up a second front in Ukraine, in the north. Ukraine is pounding Russia's oil refineries deep into their territory with new longer-range drones called the FP5, hitting oil refineries as far as in Siberia, pounding Crimea and destroying the infrastructure there. And so for the first time in a long time, maybe since 2022 or 2023, it looks like the tide of the battle is turning. And this is very precarious for Vladimir Putin, who is now facing an energy crisis because of the successful attacks on refineries. There's war fatigue in Russia. And there's also an upcoming election where maybe the voters, although the elections are not free and fair, they might express some of their discontent with the state of the conflict. And so in other words, Russia appears to be losing, precarious situation. Russia's also considering escalating and testing the resolve of NATO, militarily and in other ways. Is it totally outside the realm of possibility that Russia, in some kind of covert intelligence mission, might poison a U.S. senator? And by the way, it's not just any senator. It's not just any politician. Other politicians have led delegations to these territories before. It happens all the time. They go to Ukraine. They go to Taiwan. They go to the Middle East. They do this all the time, and it's a demonstration, in a sense, of U.S. force. Taking up space, sending a VIP to a conflict zone. It's a demonstration, actually, of resolve. It says you wouldn't dare hit Ukraine when a U.S. representative is there. You could, but you won't, because you're not serious. You don't want to try us. And it's not just any U.S. representative. It is the only remaining senator who is synonymous with war, and specifically as a Russia hawk. Lindsey Graham is one of the biggest war hawks and interventionists in the Senate, and particularly against Russia, and in supporting the U.S. intervention in Ukraine in Russia's war. So when you stack these things together, you consider the state of the conflict in Ukraine is that Russia is getting desperate. Russia is escalating. They're testing the boundaries. They're getting more aggressive, more risk-taking. Lindsey Graham is their mortal enemy. Nobody is more in favor of decapitating the Russian regime on the Republican side than Lindsey Graham. He visits Ukraine in this conflict. He goes to a drone manufacturing facility that is destroyed after he leaves. And almost exactly to the hour upon returning, when it would mathematically make sense that he's able to fly back to the United States, he dies suddenly from a heart attack, despite there being no evidence of a prior illness. He wasn't sick, didn't report that he was feeling unwell until it seems maybe hours before he died. And so I will grant that in this case, that does look pretty suspicious. That looks like a very big coincidence. That would be like if Randy Fine or Ted Cruz went to Israel and they visited some kind of missile-making facility, or they visited the nuclear complex at Dimona, that then they came home and then died all of a sudden. I think everybody would say immediately, Iranian spies did this. The IRGC did this. So I'll grant this one's a little bit suspicious. And there were reports that something like 50 FBI agents were at Lindsey Graham's house this morning. Now, they say that there's nothing to add to the investigation, but who knows if that can change in the future. So I'll say this one's a little bit suspicious. Seems like a little bit of a coincidence that it was him, that he was in Ukraine at this time, which is very contentious in Ukraine, and then he died immediately after he got back. If he died like a week later, it'd be a little suspicious, but it wouldn't be so on the nose. But if he literally flew back and died, that might indicate that he was poisoned when he was over there. And assassinations appear to be becoming very commonplace. And I'm not just even referring to Lindsey Graham, but I'm talking about between Ukraine and Russia. There was a Ukrainian assassination attempt in Monaco a few weeks ago. And the Ukrainians killed the daughter of Alexander Dugin. And they will kill each other's generals. And there was reportedly a plot to assassinate Trump in Turkey by Iran. Now, I don't know if I even believe that one, because that comes to us by way of the Israelis. U.S. intelligence says it's not credible. However, Donald Trump did take a second plane back to the United States. He took the Qatari-provided Air Force One jet to Turkey, but he took a different one on the way back. And that was reported over the weekend. It wasn't until later that it was reported that this was some abundance of caution because they feared that someone was trying to kill him. And obviously that would have been revenge, because Trump killed the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, at the beginning of this war. So is it totally outside the question that as the world is coming apart, as it's spiraling out of control, as we seem to be entering this destabilizing period of geopolitical realignment, or I should say the realignment of the world order, that there might be some assassinations like that? I think it's a non-zero chance. So this is something we might have to watch and see if there's anything else reported. It might benefit the United States to cover this up, because if it was determined that the Russians killed Lindsey Graham, it would be an act of war. And we would find ourselves not only in a war in Iran, also strangling Cuba, managing Venezuela, but then in a war against Russia. And that's the big one. There's no telling where that even goes if that were the case. So that might be the only reason why we might not get any kind of direct and transparent reporting from the administration if that was actually the case. And surely they would know it. Maybe that's why they wouldn't tell us. So anyway, that's a conspiracy. That's about all we know. And here's the thing about conspiracies. I do just want to add this at the end. When it comes to things like this, we don't know. What is being reported and what is most likely is that he died from a heart attack. However, the coincidences are hard to ignore. And this is something that I think dumb people struggle with, is that it is okay to live in the uncertainty. It is okay to hold both of these things in our head at the same time. We can hold space for the conspiracy without saying it's the truth. And so, for example, with Charlie Kirk, it took about 24 hours for people to say, oh, well, obviously Israel did it. Charlie Kirk is shot, dies in front of a camera, and in 24 hours, people made up their mind. They said, yep. Oh, you believe the government narrative? Oh, okay. He obviously was killed by a directed energy weapon, obviously. And even with that conspiracy, you can hold all the information in your mind at the same time and actually assign probability and likelihood to the different possibilities. You can say that there is a set of questions that will help us determine what happened. And obviously, as time goes on, we're going to get more information that helps us answer those questions, like about, for example, the entry wound and whether there's an exit wound, recovering all the footage, interviewing all the witnesses, finding all the forensic evidence. And this culminates in the trial of Tyler Robinson, when the state presents its case, when the defense defends him. But with the Charlie Kirk assassination, people said it's a conspiracy. And not only is it a conspiracy, but we know it absolutely. And not only do we know it absolutely, but anyone that doesn't believe it is part of the conspiracy. And that's insane. It's okay to say, it's okay to leave room for doubt and say, maybe there were accomplices. Maybe there was a more coordinated effort than we realize. Maybe there was another shooter. We have to think about how likely those things are and what evidence we would need to see and what that would look like. What would an alternative theory actually look like? And this is a good example where you say it's probably more likely than not. Sometimes 71-year-old men do die of heart attacks, and heart attacks happen suddenly. And that's just how it is sometimes. Simultaneously, it is very coincidental that he died. It seems like the second he walked through the door. He was in Ukraine touring a drone facility. Russia blew it up. Then he got home and then died. He walked through the door, it seems, and then immediately died. And that is really weird. We don't know something happened, but it certainly looks like that from the outside looking in. So that's that. But the more important thing I want to talk about with regard to Lindsey Graham is his legacy. And like I said, what is Lindsey Graham known for? For those that don't know, Lindsey Graham has been in the Senate for 4 terms, seeking a 5th term. He's been around forever. And he is synonymous in the Senate with being a war hawk. He supports every war, the war in Iraq, the war in Iran, the war in Syria. He wants regime change in Russia. He wants us to go to war with China, with North Korea, with Venezuela. If Lindsey Graham had it his way, we would be at war with every constituent member of the axis of evil, literally. He wants us to overthrow Putin. He wants us to do a ground war in Iran. He wanted us to overthrow Assad. He supported Iraq. He wants us to fight China in Taiwan. He wants us to go into North Korea. On every continent, he wants some form of regime change. And so I thought that when he died, people would be celebrating, honestly. And I don't think that's in good taste, to tell you the truth. I think that only in extremely rare cases, like terrorists and some of the worst, most heinous criminals, is it okay to really celebrate that someone is executed or dies. We see it as a form of justice. And he's a politician. He had a different view of foreign policy. It happened to result in the deaths of millions. But I still don't know that I would say I'm celebrating. But I did think that people would be, because he's responsible for some of the most unpopular foreign policy decisions in U.S. history. And like I said, if he got it his way, there'd be a lot more of them. There'd be a lot more dead Americans. There might be a nuclear war. There might be a World War III great power conflict. And so I thought that with his passing, people on the right and the left would say, finally, this guy is off the stage. And that makes two of them or four of them or three of them, depending on how you count it. George H.W. Bush went, John McCain went, Lindsey Graham went, and we're seeing the death of that old guard of extremely interventionist, war hawk Republicans. And in some sense, I think that's positive. Every death is a tragedy, but in some way that reflects how, as the generations change, the Republican Party seems to be moving in a better direction. What was really interesting to me, however, is that I saw over the weekend so many Trump supporters memorializing Lindsey Graham. And I don't mean they were saying it's sad when anybody dies. And I don't mean they say it's bad karma to speak ill of the dead. No, they were saying he was good. Trump supporters, a lot of them, a lot of diehard Trump cultists, Trump loyalists were saying, we're going to miss him. He was actually good. His legacy was positive. He was a champion of the GOP, a true party man. He was loyal to Trump. They're celebrating his life, not his death. And the reason this is so shocking to me is because if there was anybody who represented the polar opposite of Trump or what Trumpism is supposed to represent, it's Lindsey Graham. What was Lindsey Graham's legacy in the Senate? Although he was synonymous with being a war hawk, he was also in favor of amnesty. Ever since he got in the U.S. Senate, he was in favor of comprehensive immigration reform. And what that meant was border security in exchange for a pathway to citizenship or legalization of tens of millions of illegal aliens. So for his entire tenure, he was pushing a mass amnesty of illegals. Illegals becoming either legal permanent residents or citizens, and we just forgive them. And then he also supported an amnesty for the Dreamers. The Deferred Action on Childhood Arrivals, DACA, the DACA kids, and I say kids because they're all like in their 20s and 30s, he supported then an amnesty of them too. So Lindsey Graham's legacy was Middle Eastern wars, war with Russia, war with China, and a massive amnesty for tens of millions of illegals. Like I said, what are the foundational pillars of Trumpism? There's three of them. And two of them, going back to 2016, are that Trump was against the Middle East adventurism. He was against the war in Iraq, famously, against the war in Syria, wanted to keep us out of Iran. Not only that, he was also in favor of a reconciliation with Russia. He said in 2016, wouldn't it be great if we got along with Russia? Why are we fighting Russia? They're a natural ally against China. And even on China, he wanted to engage China in cooperation and competition rather than rivalry or conflict. So in terms of foreign policy, Trump 2016, America First MAGA, it's the opposite of Lindsey Graham. Trump wanted reconciliation with Russia. Lindsey Graham wanted war with Russia. Trump wanted cooperation with China. Lindsey Graham wanted war with China. Trump was against the war in Iraq and the war in Syria. Lindsey Graham was in favor of regime change in both of those countries. So they're total opposites, and that's a foundational pillar of Trumpism. That's a central part, maybe the defining part of Lindsey Graham's legacy. And then on immigration, that's pillar number 2 of Trumpism, arguably number 1. Trump is in favor of building a border wall, reducing legal immigration, massively deporting illegal aliens, mandatory e-verify, which will compel self-deportations. Trump is a restrictionist. He's a nativist, and really was in favor of very little leniency, as opposed to the Reagan doctrine or the Bush doctrine of giving amnesty in exchange for border security. Trump said, let's build a border wall first. Then you figure out what we do with the people that are here. Lindsey Graham, on the other hand, was the opposite. He wanted a massive legalization, a massive amnesty, and he was a part of that process for 20 years. So why is it now that Trump's biggest defenders and supporters, his loyalists, his cultists, these people that to this day say Trump still got it, he's the best that'll ever do it, voting Republicans, the most radical thing you could do, these people are now memorializing Lindsey Graham. And they're saying he was a true party man. He was loyal to Trump. He voted for the big, beautiful bill. He voted to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. And certainly he was corrupt, but he was our guy. And here's how you resolve the contradiction. This just demonstrates yet again what the Trump movement is actually doing, what it actually is. I had a conversation over the weekend. I'm not going to say with who. It was a big collaboration. But I was asked over the weekend, somebody said, why did you ever support Trump? Why did you support Trump in 2016? And the reason I supported Trump in 2016, in spite of some disagreements, is because Trumpism in 2016 was a radicalizing force. Republicans, most of them were to the left of Trump, and Trump was pulling them to the right. Trump was pulling them to the right on immigration. He was pulling them to the right on foreign policy, pulling them to the right on trade, pulling them to the right on all the most important issues. Fighting the Democrats, fighting the media. Looks like we lost some frames there for a second, but I think it's back. Trump was pulling the party to the right. He was radicalizing the party, and he instigated a true revolution in thinking. Whereas the old GOP was a slave to Israel and all of its wars, and the old GOP wanted to fight Russia and fight China at the same time, and the old GOP wanted an amnesty, and they wanted to bring on the legal immigrants, and the old GOP wanted to worship the free market, Trump was pushing us in a nationalist direction. Trump said, you know what? I don't care about the size of government. We just want our people to control it. We want to get the corruption out. We want to drain the swamp, get the money out of politics, confront the media, sue the media. He said, let's fix the corruption. He said, then let's end the wars. Let's bring the troops home. Let's put America first. He said, and forget about amnesty. These illegals are going back. We're going to build a wall. They can't come in. And H-1B workers and other work visas, let's put American dreamers first. Let's put American students and workers first. In 2016, Trump was a revolutionary. He was progressive. He was pushing the GOP forward. And that's why he wasn't well liked. The party hated him. And I don't know if you remember this, but even back in October 2016, a month before the presidential election, they tried to kick him off the ballot. In the 2015-2016 Republican primary, they tried to push him out in every way that they could. Ganging up together these different candidates and doing these robocalls in Iowa. I mean, they pulled out every stop to prevent Trump from taking over the party and getting the nomination and even becoming president. Many of them were never Trumpers. And the reason for that is because Trump was more radical than they were. He was more right-wing. He was a nationalist, and he wasn't perfect. He was socially liberal, and he didn't really have a strong ideological core. And there were some issues. But he was more radical than the others. And for that reason, you had to support him in 2016. But what happened almost immediately when he took office is that his whole world was filled up with the type of Republicans that he had just defeated. And slowly but surely over the past 10 years, it's been now 10 years, since Trump came down the escalator. I think it's almost 10 years to the day. Slowly but surely, Mar-a-Lago and the Trump team and the Republican Party was re-influenced and re-penetrated and re-fortified by the old kinds of Republicans. And over time, Trump became far less radical himself. And so whereas in 2016, he was talking about globalism and building a wall and draining the swamp and all this, in 2020, he was talking about building an embassy in Israel and the lowest black unemployment in history. Different guy. And when you see now that his biggest supporters and defenders are memorializing Lindsey Graham, you realize just how far we have gone in the wrong direction. 10 years since Trump took over the Republican Party in a hostile takeover, revolutionized the GOP on those critical issues, on trade, on immigration, on foreign policy, on corruption, on all these things. He revolutionized the thinking. And this is my favorite quote. It comes to us by way of Joseph Stalin, actually. Stalin said, "Will the revolution conquer the system, or will the system conquer the revolution? Who will bury who?" In other words, will there be a true ideological revolution? Will the ideological vanguard that takes control of the state, will it actually change the system on a structural level and create a new system? Or will it be destroyed by the pressures and the incentives and these larger forces and made to serve the pre-existing system? Obviously, the latter has happened with Trumpism. The system has conquered the revolution. 10 years ago, Donald Trump doxed Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was running in the 2016 presidential primary, and Donald Trump read his phone number at a rally to people on the internet, and people started calling Lindsey Graham on his phone. They hated each other. And they couldn't have been further apart ideologically. 10 years later, Trump is choking up and crying on the phone because of the death of his best friend and golfing buddy after he endorsed him for the second or third time in his re-election campaign. And all of his biggest supporters are memorializing him, retconning his legacy. We want to remember him not as the guy that pushed amnesty and foreign wars for 20 years, but as the guy that voted for Brett Kavanaugh because he gave a speech. And what this illustrates, and it's what I said in 2024, it's why I didn't vote for Trump in 24, is that Trump is no longer a revolutionary figure. He's no longer radicalizing anybody. And not only is he not radicalizing anybody, look, Trumpism is tapped, it's gassed. There's no dynamism there anymore. There's no new ideas. There's nothing interesting. Trump gives a speech on 4th of July, no one's watching because no one cares because it's nothing new. It's not new. It's not fresh. He's got nothing left to say. It's tired. It's stale. It's old. It is completed. That wave, which he started 10 years ago, has fully crested, and now it is over. But worse than being a static and status quo force, it is now slowing down and retarding radicalization. People that are radical or were radical are becoming less radical if they are in the Trump movement. People that would become radical are not because of Trumpism. Trump is the 6 million pound gorilla in the room. If you want to run for office, you need his endorsement. If you want to work in the admin, you can't criticize him. If you want to be at a think tank, if you want to be an influencer, you have to kiss his ass because he sits on the throne. He's not just the president. Being president makes him the head of the party formally. And he is more influential, arguably, than any other leader of the party in history. And he wields his control with this dictatorial control. No one can criticize him. No one can go against him. And so consequently, any young person or any prospective political person that has any ambitions in politics, if they want to be in politics, they got to go through him. They have to praise him. They have to support him. And if Trump is as moderate as Lindsey Graham, then that means that all these people that might have been radical might have been further to the right than Trump, which is how it's supposed to go. Trump is supposed to be a stepping stone. He's supposed to deliver us to a more right-wing politics. Instead, he's doing the opposite. He's preventing people from going any further. And so this is why I thought in 24 Trump had to be defeated. Not just, he's the lesser of two evils, he's going to disappoint us, but he's better than Kamala. I thought, no, he actually needs to be utterly defeated, because the way it is now, he's sucking all the money and oxygen out of the room. He is starving and throttling to death anybody or anything that might be new, fresh, more radical, more progressive, more right-wing. He's now slowing all of it down. And this is the latest evidence. This is the latest, but not the only evidence. You saw a couple of months ago on Truth Social, Trump uses his platform on Truth to tell his followers to watch Mark Levin. He's telling his people, go and watch Mark Levin shill for the war in Iran. Then he takes it a step further. He says Mark Levin is the chosen one. He's a genius. He's what it is to be MAGA. He takes it further. He says, I love Mark Levin and Laura Loomer, and I hate Tucker and Alex Jones and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens. He says, if you're with Mark Levin, you're MAGA. If you're with Tucker, Alex, Candace, and Megyn, you're not. And then it was Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie was one of the only Republicans to vote against foreign aid to Israel, one of the only Republicans to vote in favor of the War Powers Resolution to shut down the war in Iran. He was one of the only Republicans to vote to release the Epstein files. These are all America First positions, and Trump personally intervened to make sure that he lost his race, to make sure that he lost his seat by losing the primary a month ago. And now it's this. So think about it. In 2026, Tucker, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens, and all of their supporters and followers are not part of the movement. They're out. They're exiled. They're blacklisted. Thomas Massie is blacklisted. Lindsey Graham, Randy Fine, Laura Loomer, Mark Levin, they're all in. They're what it means to be MAGA. So not only has it gone completely 180, Trump is just the opposite of what he once was. In 2016, he went on Alex Jones' show. In 2016, Tucker Carlson got Bill O'Reilly's slot and became like the Trump whisperer on Fox News. In 2016, Megyn Kelly was on the other team, so was Candace Owens for that matter. But in 2016, Mark Levin was a never Trumper. Ben Shapiro was a never Trumper. Lindsey Graham hated Trump, was running against him because Trump represented America first, anti-corruption, anti-war, anti-immigration. 10 years later, it's all the opposite. It's all flipped. And this is when you realize Trump is the problem. Not his advisors, not his personnel, not the Democrats. There is no one else you're running out of runway for other people to blame, for other excuses, because wasn't that always the excuse? Why did nothing happen in the first term? The personnel were slowing him down. In this term, he's slowing the personnel down. The people in DHS are furious with Trump because he doesn't want to build the wall. It's not that they can't. It's not that the Democrats are stopping. He doesn't want to anymore. The people in DHS want more deportations. He won't let them. So that's not an excuse. In 16, they said it was the advisors. It's him. His advisors told him not to go to war in Iran. He overruled the advisors on the Council of the Israelis and Lindsey Graham. Tucker Carlson was an advisor. He told them 3 times in February, don't go to war in Iran. The military told him, don't go to war in Iran. He listened to Israel. Can't blame the advisors. Can't blame the Democrats. The Democrats didn't make him pick Lindsey Graham. The Democrats didn't make him pick Thomas Massie's opponent. They didn't make him disavow Tucker and them. Trumpism is the problem. And I'll say it now, like I've said it before. You're never going to get the next wave until Trump is no longer in control. And so that means either until he loses in 2028, or rather he's term limited out of office, Trump has to leave office, or he's got to become extremely unpopular. And people need to wake up to this and realize that it is his stranglehold over the party which is preventing us from going further. And this is the proof. I look at these young guys like a John Doyle. John Doyle is my age. He was a groyper. 7 years ago, he told me to my face that he thought his job, for those that don't know, he's like this D-list conservative podcaster. He's at Blaze TV with a bunch of other irrelevant people. 7 years ago, he was a successful YouTuber, and he told me to my face his mission was to be the white hat version of the groypers. He was going to try to be the funnel to get normies to wake up and get red-pilled and watch my show, because I was the extremist back then. His allegiance to Trump and everyone else in Trump world has now put him in a position where on his show today, he said Lindsey Graham is a great guy. We're going to miss him. He was a loyalist. He was a true party man. He was a statesman. There's your proof. This is a young white guy who was radical. He was in favor of American sovereignty. He was against Israel. He was against immigration. He was against the GOP. He recognized that Trump had been subverted. But because he stuck with Trump, he's now defending Lindsey Graham. That's the effect. And what do they say? The purpose of a system is what it does. If what Trumpism does is make people defend Lindsey Graham, make people attack Thomas Massie, make people defend Mark Levin, Laura Loomer, and Randy Fine, make people hate Tucker, Alex, Candace, and Megyn, then the purpose of this Trump movement is to prevent a more right-wing movement from rising and succeeding. And so forget about Trump fucking blowing it in the second term. He's also going to potentially blow it for us in 2028. And I don't want this to happen, but we might literally have to suffer another Democrat presidency for the next 4 years to have a true reset. That's how much damage Trump has done to the Republican brand. That's how much his pernicious influence has spoiled any opportunity for something fresh to come up. He's presenting a real problem because in 28, you're going to have to, if you want to shake things up, you're going to have to thread the needle between pissing off Trump and alienating all the people that still support him, but at the same time, voicing those legitimate criticisms for how Trump has totally failed us and departed from the original mission to activate all the people that are not happy with Trump. It's an impossible situation. In 28, you got to simultaneously kiss Trump's ass and say, you're the greatest president ever. And yeah, it's the best economy. And, you know, we defeated the Iranians. That's what it was always about. Because you can't piss off these retarded boomers that only watch Fox News and still worship Trump. Can't piss them off. Can't piss off all these idiots in the Facebook comment section. They'll take endless abuse from Trump. But also, you got to talk to the rest of America, you know, the other 75% that have an internal monologue and say, yeah, we know it's a betrayal. We know it's a pretty big letdown to say no new wars. And you're escalating against Russia, escalating against Iran, escalating against Venezuela. So he might literally, he not only blew it in 16, in 20, in 24, the parting gift is that he's going to blow it for the next guy in 28. He'll have cost us 16 years, 4 terms with his incompetence. So that's the issue. And that's what I said in 24. I told you it was going to be like this. I told you, and it didn't make sense at the time. I remember it very well. Because in 2024, people were saying, why are you not voting in favor of Trump? It's so obvious. Kamala is so bad. We just can't do another 4 years of the Democrat. We heard all this stuff. We need him to buy time. It's a lesser of two evils. We got to shut down the illegal immigration. And people said, so why, oh, why would you possibly not vote for Trump? And I remember telling people, I said, look, the proposition is different. In 2016, Trump said, America was great, but it isn't anymore. But we can make it great. How are we going to do that again? Well, you're going to have to elect a real leader like Napoleon, like Caesar, like Hitler. You're going to need to elect a real leader, not a politician. He said, and why can't you elect a politician? They're all talk, no action. They can't do anything because they're all controlled by money. They're all controlled by money, and they won't fight the media. He said, but I don't have that problem because I'm rich. I'm beholden to no one. There's no strings attached here. And I'll fight the media. I'll sue them. If they lie about me, I'll sue and destroy the media. They'll never lie about Republicans again. And I'll get elected and I'll fire everybody. And I'll go after the special interests and I'll go after the international bankers and I'll go after the globalists. And I'll have real victories. We'll actually change everything. We'll put Americans first. We'll build infrastructure. We'll build a wall. We'll kick the illegals out. We'll end the wars. We'll save money. We'll invest in our own people. That was the mission in 16. I said, and in 2024, that's not the mission at all. I said, in 24, Trump is taking money hand over fist from the Israel lobby, from Wall Street, from little tech. And what's he promising in return? Well, he told us. He said H-1Bs, green cards for foreign students. He said mass deportations, but the violent criminals first. We'll figure the rest out later. He said no new wars, but at the same time, Miriam Adelson assumed Israel was getting the West Bank and regime change in Iran. And so I remember telling people, like, look, it's different now. It's not revolutionary. It's not what it was. This is just another Republican. This is Mitt Romney. You might as well just elect any other Republican. Look at who his cabinet is going to be. Look at who his campaign staff are. I said, that's what Trumpism is going to be. I said, and more to the point, I said, if we elect Trump, and this is the critical thing, I said, it's going to create complacency. Trump is going to get on the throne. He's not going to do anything, and it's going to sap everybody of all the enthusiasm. I said, all this discontent it's going to evaporate. All this energy, all this anger, which is being incubated and making us more radical, I said, it's all going to be released. The pressure will go away. I said, and then people are going to be happy. They're going to be complacent. They're going to be leaderless and rudderless. I said, so really all this energy that we have, which is the real value, is going to dissipate. And I remember people looking at me like I had three heads. They said, what the fuck are you talking about? They said, Trump is promising mass deportations and Biden let in 12 million people. Trump said no new wars. And I'm over here saying, like, well, you see, the energy's going to go away. Trump is going to recapitulate what America first means in a pernicious way. And people are like, yeah, like, that's all theoretical. Like, that doesn't make sense. Now you see it. And you realize that you cannot be America first and be a Republican. You just can't. Because if you are, Trump will make you lose your race. If you are, Trump will disavow you on True Social. You can't be America first and be a Trump supporter. He's made it impossible. But you also can't make it in politics unless you're a Trump supporter. So think of the toxic incentive this creates. It puts so much pressure on everybody to de-radicalize, or at the minimum not to be open about how radical they are. And what that is doing is it's suppressing that energy. And the consequences are going to be dire because the opposite is happening on the left. On the left, they are radicalizing. Now that Trump is in power and the way that Trump is messing around with things, it's making the left more radical. The radicals on the left are winning. They're young. They've got energy. They're pissed off. They're pissed off about the economy, and they get to be in the opposition, which has a lot of benefits. And so whereas on the right, we're mourning Lindsey Graham, on the left, they're electing like 100 communists. Okay? On the right wing, we're taking people that were groypers and turning them into neocons. Trump is taking people that would have been against the war in Iran and making them support it. People that would have been against the Epstein files, making them defend the cover-up of the Epstein files. On the left, they are creating like a communist revolution. They're taking the initiative on the AIPAC issue, on healthcare, on housing, even on border security. Graham Plattner, who won his primary with 70% of the vote, he said we need border security and a pathway to citizenship. So on the left, they're finding their voice. They're finding a younger, more radical, a synthesis. They're dispensing the worst aspects of the woke. You get a guy like Zohran Mamdani that Trump gets along with. A guy like Zohran Mamdani, who's a socialist Muslim, who's in favor of queer liberation and abolishing ICE, and he's like universally liked and popular, and he's under the age of 70, and Trump will bro down with him. Those are the developments on the left. And the left lucked out because their octogenarian left office. And the successor, who is an establishment candidate, didn't win. So these 4 years under Trump are incubating a winning left. The left was disorganized, destroyed, totally ineffective and incompetent when Trump won the election. Now they're gaining momentum and gathering steam. And who knows what will happen in 28, but certainly there's more motion, more dynamism on the left. There's more of a laboratory there. On the right, we are all being held down by this autocracy, which is Trumpism. It's like the secret police. You can't criticize Trump, so there's no innovation. And this is like a very big problem. It's intangible, it's conceptual, but this is a very real institutional problem that we're having, and we're stuck with it. I said this to Alex Jones. He's always saying, what can we do about it now? I'm like, nothing. We voted for him. I didn't. You did. Now we're stuck with this. And Trump is going to hold our fucking head under the water until we drown or until he's term limited out of office. He is going to suffocate and drown this movement because he wants to be the king of the world until the day he dies. And that's all it is. He doesn't want anything else to grow because it wouldn't be his. Has to be his. So, and he's a prototypical boomer in that way. Prototypical boomer. He has no successor, doesn't want to hand the baton off. He's not helping anybody. He doesn't want to there's no ideological vision. As far as he's concerned, he doesn't care about what happens next. He cares about his poll numbers. He cares about whether he's liked. He cares about what his ratings will be going down in history. How will his legacy rank compared to other presidents? That's all he cares about. And that's why he's suffocating rather than nurturing that next step in this evolution. And that's why people like me, we need to take matters into our own hands. And when I say that, I mean, we have to reject Trumpism wholesale and say, look, it was a necessary development. It was a necessary first step, totally inadequate, totally insufficient. We need to move on. We can't sit around and wait 2 years for him to fuck off to Mar-a-Lago. We need to get to work now on the next wave. What does the post-Trump GOP look like in 28 or 32? And the only reason I'm able to say that is because I'm not dependent on him. All these other people are being paid under the table in a way that makes them dependent on Trump. That's why everybody was all on the team in 24. I alone was not audience captured or money captured. I was able to say, no, this is a terrible idea. The Groypers are the new vanguard. Trump is now the new status quo. So we need to get to work on that in secret. So anyway, that's Lindsey Graham. And to me, that's like, okay, he died. He was an old man. He's a neocon. Boo-hoo, so sad. He's responsible for all the wars in the world. But to me, what was most disturbing is that the people that should have been right. I mean, this is like the most obvious thing. It's just like with the Iran war. You're an America First Trump supporter and you're supporting a war with Iran? It's unthinkable. You're an America First Trump supporter. You are memorializing Lindsey Graham. It's not even like this one's controversial. It'd be one thing if it was like Kevin McCarthy or Mike Johnson or something. It's a little bit more of a complicated legacy there. If it was somebody like Jeff Sessions, you go, okay, he was on board in the beginning. He's ideologically on side, later went against Trump, or they had a falling out. But this is as black and white as it gets. You're memorializing Lindsey Graham, and you almost want to take these people and slap them in the face and say, wake up. What happened to you? You used to be with us. What happened? You were right beside us in 16, in 20, at Stop the Steal, at Charlottesville, in the Trump election, the first time, in the meme war. And now people go, Lindsey Graham, complicated figure, but a true party man. Might have been corrupt, but he was our guy. In the end, he voted for Brett Kavanaugh. Okay, and what did that do for anybody? Brett Kavanaugh voted to keep birthright citizenship. Thanks, Lindsey Graham. Thanks, Brett Kavanaugh. He voted for the big, beautiful bill. Some good that is doing, right? We allocated $150 billion for border so that we could get, 300,000 deportations last year? 500,000 if we're lucky this year? After he supported amnesty for 20 years. And people go, well, it's really complicated. In the end, he came around. They don't make them like that anymore. Yeah, they do. Gay neocons, they make them all what are you talking about? They make them all the time. They go, this gay neocon that would do anything to support the Republicans, we need more of that. No, we don't. No, we don't. The same people that just got done shitting on Thomas Massie and saying Thomas Massie is against Trump. Damn him. Oh, Lindsey Graham voted for Trump 2 times. We need more like him. Really? We need more gay neocons that do anything the GOP says? That's all there is. No, those people are the problem. There used to be more of them. We don't need more of them now. That's insane. Especially coming from the chuds. These chuds will go to a drag queen story hour and say, fuck this, fuck all this faggot shit. And then they memorialize Lindsey Graham. Are you crazy? How could you do this? So anyway, I don't even, this is like, sometimes you get gaslit and sometimes you start to lose your sense of reality. Am I the crazy one? This is a reminder, no, we are correct. This is like, remember in the movie Inception, when Leonardo DiCaprio had his spinning top to make sure that he wasn't dreaming? That's like this. It's like, okay, so we're all still against Lindsey Graham. So we haven't changed. We're not dreaming. The top fell over. We're not dreaming. We're still against Lindsey Graham just as we were 10 years ago. These other people, you are lost. You are totally lost. That's just another reality check. If you wake up one day and you say, Lindsey Graham, God bless them, they don't make them like that anymore. We need more loyal party men like that. It's like, you have seriously lost the plot. And fuck you. And I think about these like Doyle heads. I think about the captive dreamers. I think about all these like Trump sycophants. These people with the laser eyes, profile pictures, doing the armchair quarterbacking about everything. They're an amateur strategist on everything. Lindsey Graham dies and these Gen X cocksucking wife guys, they go, we need to be nice to Lindsey Graham because, why are our guys going to get in there if we let the left piss on their legacy? It's like, dude, he is against us. Let the left piss on his legacy. That's what the establishment Republicans have done to us for 10 years. Did you forget? The Republicans would have rather had Hillary Clinton win in 2016 than Trump. They were never Trumpers. They wanted him to lose. They were okay with Hillary Clinton winning. And you say, we got to create this incentive structure. If we're not nice to Lindsey Graham, who's going to step up? Hopefully people that aren't like gay neocons for openers. So if you're one of these people memorializing Lindsey Graham, fuck you. You have lost the plot. You are going down a path we cannot follow. Wake up. People say, I'm a based Republican. I'm a based chud Trump supporter. You joined the enemy. So anyway, it's crazy that even needs to be said. But that is a referendum on the legacy of Trump. Trump has been the center of everyone's attention in the world for 10 years. And you know where it's gotten us? Think about where we were in 2015 with Trump. And 11 years later, Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. J.D. Vance is the Vice President. We are in a war with Iran. And after endorsing Lindsey Graham for the second time, Trump is crying about his death as his supporters memorialize his legacy. That's where we are 11 years into the revolution. It's safe to say the revolution has failed. The Trump revolution has failed. It has betrayed its core promises. It has betrayed its loyalists, its true believers, its voters. And it's totally over. And now it has to go away for the real movement to succeed, for the next and the real America First movement to thrive. Period. End of story. None of them have survived. Matt Gaetz out. Marjorie Greene out. Jeff Sessions out. Steve Bannon out. Alex Jones destroyed in a lawsuit. This is what the Trump movement has given us. So anyway. But listen, this is not a cause for blackpilling. It's just a reality check. And we're going to move on to the super chats in a minute. We'll give an update about Iran tomorrow because it's a lot to cover and we're out of time. This is not a black pill. This is not to say the whole thing is over. This is to say that the Trump movement is over. And that's okay. Movements come and go and they serve their purpose. Trumpism was never the end-all be-all. Trumpism was always a prefigurement. It anticipates what will come next. It taught us some very important lessons. It created me. It created a lot of us. It's hard to say right now on net whether it was positive or negative. It's something that had to happen. Wokeism, political correctness needed to be confronted. The media needed to be confronted. These nationalist attitudes needed to be awakened. It wasn't all bad. It was a necessary first step. Necessary but insufficient, but inadequate. And so now it's not to say, look, it's all over. It dies with Trump and his presidency. It's our job now to take the baton and figure out the next step, the next movement. And we will have to define ourselves in distinction against Trump's legacy, refining it. And I always said, for as long as I've been doing the show, I said the ultimate question is succession. Who fills Trump's shoes? Who determines what the post-Trump Republican Party looks like? That has always been the object ever since January 20th, 2017. Is how do we develop it and take it all the way? Trump gave us the vision. America first. He didn't realize it. He didn't fulfill it, but he planted that flag. That's the standard. And so now the mission is we need to be the true inheritors. We need to have that America First renaissance. We need to rescue that, recapitulate that from the past, and take it further. That's the mission. And I think it will happen. It's not a question of if, but it's a question of when. Whether we'll have to suffer a Democrat cycle to reset, whether that's in 28, 32, 36. But that's the blueprint. But that's that. I do want to move on. We're going to take a look at our super chats. I think we got started just a little bit after 11. So I would get into Iran, but it's so much to go over. I think I'm just going to save it for tomorrow. So if you want to hear all the latest on Iran, the MOU falling apart, how it relates to Vance, the widening of the war to include Yemen, these are some huge subjects. I think I'm going to take the whole show tomorrow and just talk about that. So that's going to do it for me with the news tonight. We're going to move on. We'll take a look at the super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say. And tomorrow I'm going to start much earlier. I'm thinking 9:30 p.m., okay? 9:30 tomorrow, I'm doing a whole show just about Iran. Like I said, ton of different angles. There's the restarting of the war, collapse of the MOU, widening conflict between Yemen and Saudi Arabia, as well as how this impacts J.D. Vance. So we might just spend the whole show tomorrow on that, early at 9:30. Okay, we're going to move on. People are saying cap. Hey, maybe. 9:30, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try. That's all anyone can do. That's all anyone can do. Okay. We're going to move on now. We're going to take a look at the super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say. Let's take a look. Okay. My hair's kind of looking goofy tonight. I don't know. Am I mogging? What do you think? What do you think of this? So this is a dark green suit and a burgundy tie. Thoughts? Let me know what you think. Honestly, you know what's crazy? I have actually been experiencing the halo effect. I'm not even kidding. When I was about 30 pounds heavier, people wouldn't even fucking spit in my direction. Okay. Everyone hated me. I was fat. I was disgusting. And deservedly so. I mean, like, deservedly so. I was a disgusting human being. I was 30 pounds heavier. But I swear, ever since I lost the weight, it's like a whole different world. People just smile at me now. Women just smile at me. I check into a hotel and the black receptionist is like smiling at me. Like in a nice way, not in like I have to be here. It's crazy. So, it's real. Lose the weight. People are DMing me on Twitter saying like, you're hot. A male waiter. I shouldn't even say this story because like, you're all going to call me gay, obviously, but I didn't invite this. This is something that simply happened to me. It just happened. It happens. I was at this Mexican restaurant and the waiter wrote on the receipt, "You have a beautiful smile." I was like, wow. Clav was right. The halo effect is real. Listen, I can't control it. I'm a handsome guy. I'm handsome now. I won. I ascended. Doesn't matter. So anyway, isn't that crazy though? Anyway, let's take a, people are saying gay. Look, I didn't write it. He wrote it. Okay. I didn't say, hey, okay, it just happened. It just happened. Sometimes those things just happen. So anyway, let's take a look at the super. Let's just stop talking about that. Let's get to the super chats. Never beating the allegations. Why would he write that? He must have thought I was open for business. I was being polite. I was just being polite. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Not that it matters. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. I wrote thank you. All right, let's take a look at the super chats. Let's see what we got here.
BB Shapiro Stein sent $20. You ignore the well-documented changes in Kirk's views leading up to his death. Also, his text stays before his killing saying he can't support Israel and he thought that would kill him. Why?
I addressed literally every aspect of that on the show last week. The problem is you don't want to hear it. I have addressed that since the beginning. If you go back and watch my show from Friday and I think Thursday, I addressed every single... People go, well, you never talked about the well-documented changes in Charlie Kirk's views on Israel. Yes, I did. And I gave a very compelling alternative theory if you go back and watch that show. I'm not going to relitigate the whole thing, but I think I spent about 20 minutes talking about exactly that. You just don't want to hear it. So, yeah, that's just incorrect. You're a fucking idiot that doesn't want to hear things you don't agree with.
CCRED's underage boyfriend sent $20. You're a saint. I would call for the death of my enemies if I was you. We don't deserve you. Why is Dr. Lupus a disloyal cunt?
I'm not going to get into all that, but as far as calling for the death of my enemies, I'll just say this much. You know, I wouldn't mind if my enemies died. No, but don't kill them. Look, let's just say on the subject of my enemies dying, I am ambivalent. Okay. Look, I want them to go to heaven. I don't care when they go to heaven, but I don't think anybody should kill anybody. Okay. Listen, nobody should kill anybody. It's not worth it. It's not worth the prison time. It's not that I'm not calling for the death of my enemies. I'm just sort of internally willing it into existence always. Through my actions, in my thoughts, deeds, and intentions, I'm just sort of willing it in, manifesting it into existence. I would never call for it because I don't want anyone to kill them, but we all got to go at some point. So I'm just sort of like, I'm like telling the universe like sooner. Like why will they not be punished? No, I'm kidding. We don't wish death upon, I don't wish death upon anybody. That's obviously a joke. I pray that my enemies have long lives because they're despicable people. And I want them to see the conclusion of their treachery, of their wickedness. I want them to live to see the unhappy ending, you know, where that gets you. And I want the apology forms, because that's the two ways it's going to go. I always win. On a long enough timeline, my enemies will either create a hell of their own making and inhabit it, hopefully for a long time, or they write their apology forms. But it always goes one of those two ways. So, no, I wish them well. I wish them the best. I hope they're doing great.
Captain N Crunch sent $20. Thank you so much for the last 2 days of this. Is Candace an op or being vindictive? At first she kissed Erica's ass. I think she wanted to run poos after this.
She's not an op, bro. Every question these days is like, is this a conspiracy? Is this a conspiracy? It's like, not everything's a conspiracy.
Evanston Groyer sent $20. Hey Nick, love the show. Thanks for the Friday show. Folded hands emoji. Seriously, is Mike Moss still alive? Deport Sneeko. Nuke Iran. Frog emoji. Frog emoji. Frog emoji. Frog emoji. Frog emoji.
Okay. Evanston. Shout out Evanston. I don't know. I haven't talked to Mike Ma probably in 5 years. And, yeah, deport Sneeko, definitely. Dude, Sneeko, man, guys, dude, Sneeko is cracking, bro. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean, he is crumbling. He is cracking up. He just doesn't have the constitution for this. He's mentally weak. And I knew that. And I knew I would destroy him. Look at what's happening. He is so pressed about what we're doing to him that he fled to Saudi Arabia. He goes, whenever I'm overwhelmed, I go to Saudi Arabia. Oh, is this overwhelming for you, my friend? This is overwhelming for you? Whenever I get overwhelmed, I go and cry to the prophet in the cube in Saudi Arabia. Oh, is this overwhelming? Are we getting to you? Crashing out on Aiden Ross, crashing out on Clavicular, crashing out on everybody. Hasn't slept, looks like shit, totally descending. His evil is catching up to him. He's a horrible human being. He's a despicable human being. And it's finally catching up to him. Good. Good. And I hope it does. I hope it does. The physiognomy doesn't lie. The physiognomy doesn't lie. See me? I'm looking better. I'm looking better because I'm going through it valiantly, heroically, maybe. That I've been told I'm a hero. People say, you're a hero? Okay. Yeah, hey, I'll take it. You know, why do I look amazing? Why am I losing weight, ascending, like top of my game? Because I'm arguably a hero. You are an anti-hero, maybe. You, on the other hand, are such an evil bastard that you look like shit. You can't even conceal it. It's manifesting in your appearance. So, you know, maybe he would get some sleep if he didn't betray all of his friends. Hey, Sneeko. Hey, Nicholas de Blasi Ford. Maybe you'd get a little more sleep at night if you weren't tortured by the guilt of betraying all your friends and being a piece of shit. And believing in a false religion. So, here's a little piece of advice. Get home safe.
Home 1119 sent $20. Thoughts on Mario Nawfal?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in probably 3 years, too.
Notorious Grow I % $20. Pray for Connor MC Gregor. Ireland emoji. Latin cross emoji.
That's a shame.
Naperville Grower % $100. Even besides the Charlie Kirk conspiracy, Ben Shapiro still only interacts with people like Ian, Tucker, and Candace on X Not You. You don't give him easy dunk opportunities because you're precise, while the rest traffic in wrong or speculative ideologies. He avoids you like a plague.
That's true. Thanks for the big super chat. I love the whole Chicagoland areas present. Evanston Groiper, Naperville Groiper, River Forest Groiper. Wasn't there someone else last week, I thought? Arlington Heights Groiper. Yeah, that's 100% right. That's why they think I'm dangerous. They all say that. Do you notice that I'm the only one they respect? The Jews, the Zionists, they all say the same thing about Candace. They say she's dumb. They say she's a faux sophisticate. She's crazy. She doesn't know how to read. They say the same thing about Jake Shields. They say you're a retard. With me, they say he's dangerous. He's an evil mastermind. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's extremely effective. That's what makes him our most formidable adversary. The Jews have this begrudging respect. They're like, he knows about our doctrine. He knows what he's talking about. I had a clip go viral on Instagram, on like Jewish Instagram, because I was talking about all of the commandments. I was talking about wrapping tefillin, and I was talking about the mezuzah, and I was talking about all these things, and this is like entry-level stuff, but all the comments were like, how does he know about in a group chat, somebody said Nick's talking about Zimzum, or whatever the Kabbalistic term is for the creation of the universe. People said, he gave this like allegorical reference to the Kabbalah. He must read as much as he says he does. It's like, yeah, that's the difference. These people like Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, Dan Bilzerian, they're just not serious. They don't know anything. They don't know what they're doing. They're floundering around. So that's why they're all verified and on YouTube. You notice that? Every single one of them is verified. Every single one of them is on YouTube. Every single one of them is on Instagram. Every single one of them is monetized. So
Tallahassee Grower % $20. No message 07.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Reese Tyler sent $50. Lion emoji. Leo emoji. Leo season nigga Leos wanna be Geminis so bad no bitch you all just don't get it like we do. You can't stand next to goats like we can. Forks down. Money up brokies mad cause we fuck AF is unmovable.
Oh, I love that. Who wrote the super chat? Hey, who made this super chat? This is the best super chat I ever read. Yeah, fuck Gemini. Well, no, we don't say fuck Geminis. I don't have a problem with any Geminis. I love though. Leos want to be Geminis. No, bitch. Y'all just don't get. I love that's so funny. No, I don't have any problems with Geminis. I'm trying to think who I have beef with. I don't know their sign. But yeah, true. Leos are the goats. I'm a Leo. Forks down, money up. So true. Dude, so true. Money up, brokies down. That's what it is. Brokies mad all day, bro.
Algerian Groip sent $20. Clav won on the $7,000 club PR guided tour just so he can get Harris, kick out the club and roast it on Israel national TV. Smiley face emoji. Smiley face emoji.
You mean he red-pilled the whole world? You mean he went to Israel, demanded that they apologize to him for him being anti-Semitic, then blamed Jews for making everyone hate Israel, then left and said he would never return? And they paid for it probably, and they paid him to do it. So let's see. Israel paid Clavicular to fly to their country, tell them that they should apologize to him for calling him anti-Semitic, blamed the Jews for making the world hate Israel, then said, fuck this country, I'm never coming back, and leaving. Five-dimensional chess, bro. Clavicular always wins. Honestly, I saw his interview in the Israeli press. Not to do like somersaults on it, not to be doing tricks on it. It was Trumpian. Tell me you don't see it. I watched his interview with the Israeli press, and it was like vintage Trump. And I'm not even just saying that because I'm like a D1 clavicular glazer. It was disturbing because, like, so the journalist is like, you need to apologize for being anti-Semitic. And Clavicular's like, why always the negative? Why not positive? Frankly, you should be apologizing to me. I come to this country and show everybody how beautiful Tel Aviv is. I try to show people this country is safe and peaceful. And you call me an anti-Semite? Frankly, you owe me an apology. And this interview's over. And he takes the piece out and throws it on the ground. I was like, whoa, like, chills. D1 Glazer. Okay, guilty as charged. But it's like, bro, that's vintage Trump. He's literally, it's giving Trump. Am I the only one that saw that? It was very, because Trump is always like power of positive thinking. If you watch his old interviews, it's the same language. He's always saying, always the negative, never the positive. Why don't you talk about the positive things I'm doing? And then it's always, you know what, have a good time. This interview's over. That's always his line, have a good time. It was like, so, it was like bar for bar, it was Trumpism. It was crazy. I'll pull it up. Someone says faggot glaze. Listen. I only tell the truth. I'll pull it up. You'll see what I mean. Okay, here. I'll react to it.
Well, everyone in Israel is talking about, you know, what we're doing that's good. You know, so for you to kind of start the interview off in like a negative manner doesn't really make sense, you know.
Think about it. Think about it structurally. He goes, everyone in Israel is talking about how what we're doing is positive. Frankly, the way you're starting the interview off in a negative manner, am I the only one that's seeing this? I know this is like crazy. It's not, it's just analytical.
Okay. Why don't you apologize to me for wasting my time?
You know what everybody in Israel is talking about right now, right?
Well, everyone in Israel is talking about, you know, what we're doing that's good. You know, so for you to kind of start
Everyone's
the interview
talking
off
about
in
it.
like a negative manner doesn't really make sense. You know, we came here after a ceasefire ended in a very unstable state, technically, to kind of show that, you know, Israel's a safe place. So for you to start off in an antagonistic way, I'm really, you know, kind of just confused.
But how can you not talk about
like
the song?
Poor journalist
Just tell me.
tactic. No. So
You're a bad
if you're going
journalist.
to be negative, if you're going to be negative and ask about, you know, like old, you know, situations that are not so positive, then I really don't want to talk to you.
That January is not that old. You know, you got kicked out of the club just
Yeah,
because
right
of
after
this.
I was kicked out of the club, you know, the owner called me and profusely apologized.
That's a lie.
Offered me to come
You
back
checked.
and top my entire night. So it was just a mix-up.
No, that's a lie. So why not clean the page?
So why not? So why don't you clean the page and, you know, talk about how much I've done for this country's reputation, because it's in utter shambles. You go on any social media page, the amount of propaganda.
And then the attack. Why don't you apologize to me? Your reputation's in shambles. It's so Trump. So anyway, so I think it's warranted. I think that's legit. That's legit. That's real. But I know you guys all hate Clav, so you don't want to hear this, but it's just true.
Fat shit Roy percent $20. If Dems win 28, you should flee to Uruguay like me. It's very safe. 90% white. Lifestyle similar to Italy. Age of consent is 15.
Okay, bro. It's 90% white. The age. Oh boy, the age of consent is 15. Dude, shut up. Shut up, dude. Oh wow, sounds really based. I don't know. I mean, listen. They have U.S. extradition, I think. So that's just not going to work. But I don't know. I have to go somewhere. I have to go into hiding.
Reductionist Grower percent $100. Much talk of monetary policy by grow-wipers who haven't yet destroyed the libertarian at their core. The shortest path to power is for our movement to be the moneyed establishment's solution to their DSA problem.
Yep.
Racial populism stealing energy from the materially consequential economic populism.
Well said. Thank you for the big super chat. Very well said.
Red Wave sent $20. You must not bring the earnings of a prostitute into the house of the Lord your God. Do 23:16 fries in the bag, faggot.
Who are you talking to? Earnings? Oh, what earnings of? I don't have any earnings from a prostitute. What are you talking about? Are you talking to me? I don't have any earnings from any prostitutes. What are you talking about? All my super chatters are like tech people, like business people, lawyers, doctors, crypto billionaires, 14-year-olds that do drop shipping companies, 14-year-olds that do ChatGPT raps. The problem is you're poor. So you think the only way you could conceive of anybody getting rich is if they become a prostitute because you're broke. You work at McDonald's. So you're sitting over there seething, making your $11 an hour, 15, whatever it is, saying, oh, well, the Lord said that, well, it's like, listen, that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing, pal. Nice little moral fagging cope, though. The reason I'm broke is because the reason you're broke is because you're not an entrepreneur. You don't have ideas. So, anyway.
Red Wave sent $20. Did you know the Trump patriarch in America, Friedrich, got into the real estate game as a whorehouse compliance associate?
Really? Oh, you're talking about Trump. Are you talking about Trump then, or what?
Complacent Wagey sent $20. What are your thoughts on Noahide and Israel's upcoming meetings in November?
I don't know what that means.
Soy Guy sent $200.
I know what the Noahide laws are, but what is Israel's upcoming meeting? I don't know what that is.
Soy Guy sent $200. I just realized my grandma is OG to the movement. She's 92, lives in an all-white retirement neighborhood, plays GTA in real life by driving into shit then driving off, carries a gun. She shuts the TV off when brown people come on. She also doesn't eat and hates fat people. I can't decide if I should call her grandpet or grandma.
Okay, that's I have to say that's wholesome, because if I crashed out, I'd look like an asshole. But I appreciate the big super chat. Well, your grandma's really based, bro. Your grandma's really based. Appreciate the big super chat. No, she sounds based. She turns the TV off when brown people come on? Holy fucking based. I don't know, that just sounds kind of bigoted to me, to tell you the truth. My grandma was kind of like that too. My grandma, when she passed, she had like loaded guns all over the house. I think J.D. Vance had a similar story, so. But when she passed, my mom was cleaning out her house and she went into the laundry room, and in the hamper, there were like 20 handguns. There were like 15 Glocks, 15 or 20 Glocks in the hamper, and a few others in the house. But she ran a security school, so that's why she had them. It wasn't like a self-defense, but she also was a little nutty about guns. Contractors would come to her house and she would leave a loaded gun on the table to imply like she would kill that person if they, it's like, I don't even know what the implication is there. So she was a real one like that. She was legit. And she wouldn't turn the TV off when brown people came on, but she'd be watching the TV. I shouldn't even say that. Well, you know, I don't know. Last time I talked about these familial things, people say your family's racist. I'm not even going to say the last one's pretty funny, but it's something similar, I guess. A little bit from a more charitable angle, though, I'll say. So, yeah, they just don't make them like that anymore, huh? The old ones. Yeah, we miss her. So, sounds
Alf Groy,
based.
$20. How did you like Philly?
Philly? Who said I was in Philly? I wasn't in Philly. It was okay. It was all right. I didn't really have a lot of time to explore. So, can't really give it a fair hearing. It was nicer than I thought it would be, though. It was a little bit nice. I thought it was going to be, because I went to Providence to do Sam Hyde's thing last year, and I went to school in Boston. I've been in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I've been to New York City, obviously, and Long Island. So I've been all up and down the East Coast. And I don't know, I thought Philadelphia was going to be kind of like those cities, but it seemed like a little bigger. It was bigger than I thought it was, and just nicer. So, I mean, from what I saw, I liked it.
6 or 7 mil sent $100. Square pizza or triangle pizza, and what are we going to do with these people that put pineapple on pizza? Deport them to Israel?
Okay, thank you for the big super chat. Square, definitely square pizza.
Jack Scroy $25. Me and the wife threw all of our weed and bongs away last week. Love the show and everything you do. Nuke Sneeko from orbit.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that, but at the same time, that sentence is just like, ugh. Me and my wife threw out all our weed and bongs. It's like, that's so bad. I guess that's good, but that's so bad. All right, wifey. America First told us to throw our bowls and bongs and gram of weed. It's like, how do people live like this? I don't get it. That's just not a thing here. I think it's more acceptable in like different generations and different regions, but I mean, the idea that you'd be doing it legit like that, it's just like, who does that? Who are you people? Me and my wife threw our bongs away. You were blazing up with your wife? Oh my gosh. Diabolical. You and the wife in those pajama pants watching Family Guy and South Park ripping the bong. Oh my, imagine the smell. See, that whole scene, it just like really depresses me. So, yeesh. Just be glad it's over. Please just don't go back. Just don't take that to the grave.
Veiled Angel Cake sent $30. No Grower Pets merch? Crying face emoji. Broken heart emoji. I bought the AF keychains though. Heart
All
hands
right,
emoji.
let's go. Yeah, no Groypet. None of it was really speaking to me.
6
you
or
know?
7 mil sent $50. For the people that want your book recommendations, if you have the AF Plus website, go to this episode. He names off book recommendations.
No, don't do
America First RSB.
No, don't do it. Don't.
ASAP Gooby
Don't
sent
read the
$50.
book list.
The odd Wang Lindsey Graham departed this world a kissless vocal chat because he was married to the game. Your girl can't go if you never had one.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Albanian Floyd sent $20. If you ever feel down, just remember you chilled with the President of the United States. You mean something more than you know.
That's true. Hey, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's true. I've had quite the life. So yeah, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. It's very nice.
G36 Bubba Groy % $20. Shout out to the fellow Groyper who complimented the hat in Walmart this evening.
Hey.
Express lanes are not express.
Yeah, well, we all know why that
67
is.
Wang 67 cent $50. Chocolate cheeks. Broken heart emoji. Wilter flower emoji. Gucci backpack bro.
That's still funny. Let's just not. Yeah, you're too cool for school.
Competitively
Okay.
opaque sent $20. You ever read the Turner Diaries?
No.
Ciano Piano sent $50. Have a blessed week, my nigga.
Thanks. Have you ever went to Turner Diaries?
Meow is Groy
Shut up.
$20. Your GF. Meowba. Lit the Quran on fire today. Aren't you so proud of her and the work she's doing for the movement? Less than 3.
I don't know who that is. I don't have a GF.
Self-immolator sent $25.
I don't have any of
What's your
that.
vision for the overall aesthetic of AF? How much thought do you put into the colors, fonts, visual language, etc.?
What's the vision for my aesthetic? Well, you see it because it's what you're watching. What's your vision? What's my vision for my visual output? Well, it's visual. So that's just like the most insane question I've ever heard. It's almost like saying, what are you saying right now?
Scorsese Babadaddy sent $20. The thief on the cross didn't go through the church to get to heaven. He went to Jesus and repented and was saved. You keep embarrassing yourself on all these interviews. I couldn't let it keep going.
Yeah, and that's why Christ, who has the power alone, he confessed to Jesus. Jesus absolved him of his sins and he went to heaven. Just as Jesus gave the power to the apostles to bind and loose sins, heal sins, and forgive them in his place. This is 101. This is easy.
Vermont Groy % $25. Hope all is well, Nick. Just ordered off the new drop, super excited. Vermont is loaded with grow ibers.
Let's
Stay
go.
safe code.
I've never been to Vermont.
Knife Basket sent $20. Money can't lower your trad wife's body count, but it can remove her tattoos. Get your money up.
Goodness.
Knife Basket sent $100.
Imagine.
I believe Charlie Kirk pursued truth with the same vigor as you, which would have inevitably led him to our movement. This is for Charlie.
That's just not true. Thank you for the big super chat. Charlie Kirk pursued money and advancement. And listen, he was a pragmatist. He was practical, but guided by the truth alone, I don't think he was. I think that Charlie was ambitious. I think it was ambition rather than curiosity that drove him, which is fine. But I disagree with that characterization. If he pursued the truth with the same vigor as me, then why was he trying to get people to shut me down? He wouldn't debate me his entire life. He discouraged other people from platforming me. He banned me from his conference. Interested in the truth? Absolutely not. I think he was interested in accumulation, growth. He wanted to ascend the ladder. He was ambitious. You know, and even the stories that Candace tells about him, that's basically how he's represented, is total ambition. And that's why he was everything to everybody. That's why he was such a skilled fundraiser, such a skilled Big Ten organizer. You know what it means to be a Big Ten organizer? It means you got to keep everybody happy. You know, a lot of people that ruthlessly pursue the truth, that keep everybody happy and keep everybody getting along and get money from everybody, it doesn't work. And that it is what it is. But no, I don't think that was his main mission.
Blanco 0712 sent $20.
So this whole he was going to have an epiphany. It's just crazy.
Blanco
It's just that's not
0712
how
sent
people
$20.
are.
It is not God that forsakes us, but it is us who forsakes him. Pray to be on his side, not ours. And may he have mercy on us sinners. I will enjoy rewatching tomorrow. This normie has work tomorrow. Orthodox cross emoji.
Thanks a lot.
Potato Groyer sent $20. Anna Paulina Luna fell off. She used to be bad before the wall hit. Favorite philosophers?
She used to be bad before. I've never really been paying any attention to her at all. So, favorite philosophers? I don't know, man. I'm not really into philosophy like that. I had a big fight with a friend of mine about this. I could just never get into it. It's not my specialty. I read it. I don't remember it. It's not my wheelhouse.
Jet Homie sent $20. Copped a bunch of the new merch. Where was the hat to go with the boy in the striped pajamas set? Love the show. Thanks, Nick.
The point, that's
Fat Gay
funny.
Wigger sent
Very
$100.
good.
Is it true Lindsey Graham auditioned for Black Raw in 2019?
That's just disgusting. Thanks for the big super chat. I love that's it's supposed to be a joke. Oh, I get it because it's disgusting.
European Grower percent $50.
Okay.
I want to do a show called Save Europe, but the hate speech laws here are crazy. Do I save money and move out the country or be talk to a lawyer on what can I say? So, sir lawyer, can I say Hitler Hedora?
Oh my gosh, that's like every night. Can I start a Oasis YouTube show like you do, but it's against the law?
David Lancaster sent $20. A small thank you for 5 great shows last week and an interview. Can't wait for the Hunter Biden one to break the internet. Quentin
That'll be
Levy sent
interesting.
$20. What animal do you prefer, a wolf or a lion? Let's settle this once and for all.
I don't know, man.
Yankee Grower percent $20. Love the summer merch. Glad I waited to place my order.
Good. Glad to hear it. Appreciate it.
EM 1488 sent $20. Half today I saw a reel where a dude was criticizing you for doing a pod with Hunter and I sent it to my friend calling the guy a. EM 1488 sent $20. Two halves faggot, but he had already sent the same reel saying the same thing as Mexicans are in grower per unison for you. God bless.
Who cares? Who cares what people say? I mean, who wouldn't do it? Who wouldn't? It's content. I can't content cuck the audience. We got to give them the content. So who doesn't? Honestly, everybody that's saying I shouldn't have done it, they're all going to watch it. Everybody that's saying, why did he do it? He shouldn't have done it. They're all going to watch it. What does that tell you?
St. Paul sent $20. The Lord be with you.
Thank you. You as well.
Lion from the Den sent $50. The Lion's Den are the SS of grow wipers. Submit to the Lion's Den.
Oh,
Lion
I don't
emoji.
really even know what that is.
Mihaio 3
okay?
sent $29. Do you know of the book Man Without Excuse? It encapsulates the imperative to assume responsibility regardless of circumstance, paralleling dates, and your advocacy for taking political control back.
Do you know of the book? Man Without is the title. Man Without Excuse is the title. No, I've never heard of that. So.
Guyper0 sent $20. Sorry for the terrible super chat the other night. You're the only real one out here.
Thank you, man.
The
Appreciate
Vanilla
it.
Villain sent $50. Today is the birthday of Julius Caesar and myself. I've heard a few historians claim he was a fag due to not having kids. Hot take, he was a cuck. That's why he was such a potent general.
See, here's the thing. It's like people like Julius Caesar are preoccupied with war. And people like you are preoccupied with what people like Julius Caesar are doing in private. And that's the difference. You know. Well, I wonder what Julius Caesar like did with sex. It's like, who cares? That's not his legacy is that he's the first emperor. It's created the empire. And niggas be like, why did he not have kids? Because he was a fag or because he was a cook? Or because he had other problems? Like, okay, really? That part I don't really
Tallahassee Grow
understand.
Wiper sent $20. No one I know likes Byron, but the polls still have him first. Calling all FL Grow Whips to register Republican and vote Fishback. Fish emoji.
Yes, register Republican, vote
The
Fishback.
Keeper sent $20. Nick, check out Death Stranding 2. Opening credits. First mission. -61 by Woodkid.
I'm not doing that. I'm not. Let's just stop there. What are you talking
Makai
about,
Moscow
bro?
sent $20. Tipped via Rumble Wallet.
Thanks.
Diversity Stole My Bike sent $1,776.
Thank you for the huge super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. Diversity Stole My Bike, one of our big donors here. God bless you, man. 07's in the chat, 1776. Very patriotic. We love you, buddy. And I appreciate all the support. It really helps. And no message. God bless. The GOAT.
Evie of the Volley sent $35. Love the summer collection. God bless.
Good. I'm glad I wasn't sure how it was going to go over, but I think people like it.
2026 Nick Moggs 2025 Nick sent $20. Not to blackpill, but if the movement doesn't succeed, we can at least be proud of what our ancestors built. No one else could.
That's crazy. If we lose, you should be sad. Well, at least my grandparents, it's like, dude, we have to win.
Off Squared sent $20. New merch is fire emoji. Had to sell my Palantir stock to buy some. Can you sell onesies for baby grow wipers? My baby is only 25% Aryan, but watching since 12 hours
Oh,
old.
boy. Yeah, we'll do some
Cons87
baby
sent $20.
merch.
A Buc-ee's just opened by me in Goodyear, Oz. No parking, Disneyland-like lines. Ended up walking out without purchasing anything. Makes you realize the Jews might be onto something. Ablut the Goyim.
It's these Southerners, man. For Southerners, a gas station is a destination. Oh, let's all go to Buc-ee's. Let's all go to the gas station. The gas station? It's a gas station. Why? Because they got food there? Okay. I mean, so does Sam's Club. So does Costco. So does IKEA. We're going to make it a big event to go to the... Y'all can buy anything here. Okay, and same thing with Walmart and same thing with Amazon. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not going to eat at a gas station. It's just like... That's how it is down there, though. It's how it is. Out in the country. I have a huge superiority complex when it comes to city versus the country. Like here in the city, you can get anything, anywhere, all the time. Down there, it's like there's just nothing for miles. And there's this like oasis in the middle of nothing. And it's, what do they sell there? Like peanuts or popcorn or something? It's like, okay, it's a gas station.
Holland sent $100. 07.
Thank you for the big super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, so the Buc-ee's, I don't get it.
Poop D Groy percent $20. Mark Lynch major comeback.
And I've been there, but who?
Goalie emoji. Yahoo sent $20. Have you read on the beverage box emoji and their lies
Okay.
by Martin Luther? The Lutherans have been based since 1517. Orthodox cross emoji.
Okay. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for telling me. I've been doing the show for 10 years. And in July 2026, people say, have you ever read The Jews and Their Lies by Martin Luther? The Lutherans have been based for 500 years. Did you know that? Have you ever read the Turner Diaries? It's like, okay, so did you get red pilled last week?
Fed
Like,
maxing
what's
sent
going on?
$20. Girl left friends switched grow Iper still here.
I don't know what
French
that
fan
means.
sent $20. You simply are the GOAT. Asmongold is shilling hard for Graham and John
Really?
Boyle, by the way. Sad.
That doesn't matter. Asmongold is a great ally. Him and I are on the same team, and he's the GOAT, and I will never attack.
Lysol sent $100.
Thank you for the big super chat.
Grow
Appreciate
Ipers
it.
always win sent $20. Vance chills in a panic. AF post cough cough.
Indeed. There's some disagreement there.
Wholesome Inch sent $20. Mog is off the charts.
Think so? I don't know. My hair's a little goofy today. I was kind of busy tonight. I have a dope life. I was kind of busy. So I didn't have time to like take a shower and shave, but I promise I'll be mogging tomorrow. I promise.
The only one Kev sent
I
$20.
promise.
What's something in the Bible that makes you humble yourself or just reflect on it?
I think a lot about when they were in Gethsemane. Is that how I pronounce it? When Jesus was in the garden and he tells them to be on the lookout and then they all fall asleep. And to me, that just perfectly summarizes human frailty and weakness. Because you imagine what you do in your life, your own personal failings, your own personal shortcomings. For me, I can't wake up on time. I'm not punctual. I'm lazy. I'm unreliable sometimes, whatever. And then you think you're in the presence of the living God. You've seen him perform miracles. You're one of 12. How many billions of people have lived and died on earth? And you are among the 12 that get to be a friend and a witness to Christ in the flesh. It's the most important day in all of the history of the universe, or the eve of it. And God himself tells you, hey, just be on the lookout. I'm about to be crucified. I'm sweating blood. Could you just watch my back? And they all fall asleep. And he says, you couldn't keep watch for even an hour? Really? And to me, that's maybe the most humble. I think about that all the time. Because I even think about how I need to be more forgiving of people that I know. Because you think about that's just, people are just frail. We're weak, we're wretched, we're frail. That's why we can't save ourselves. That's why we need the grace of God for supernatural reconciliation and communion. But we also need to be gracious to each other for the same reason. So I think about that all the time. It's just like a crazy, it's like to be admonished like that. I think about, I'm like 20 minutes late to everything I do. It's like, hey, you couldn't keep watch for an hour? Really? I'm going up on the cross tomorrow and I'm like beside myself. I think about that painting of him praying in the garden. You couldn't keep watch even an hour? Really, bro? Not to be flippant about it, but I think about that a lot. Because the Bible's about people and they're people like us. And you read the Bible and you think like, these are stories. And you think, well, why did Peter deny Christ after Christ told him? And you think, we kind of do that all the time. If somebody puts us on the spot and we're in trouble, yeah, sometimes we panic. And I don't know him. And you realize the people in the Bible do all the things that we do all the time, and you consider that they did it and they're in the most important story of all time. And we do it in these like more mundane circumstances. So anyway.
Lil Earl sent $25. If Sneeko keeps up the crying, he'll have to start wearing a hijab.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, he's just crying all the time. He's a wreck. He's an emotional wreck right now. That's what it means when you're crying all the time. It means you're an emotional wreck. Crying about this and that and crashing out on all his friends and flying to Saudi Arabia. This guy is totally going through it. And he deserves it because he's a horrible person. So I hope that he hits rock bottom and he realizes that he's been a complete piece of shit and he apologizes to all his friends that he betrayed. That's my hope for him. Good. You deserve this. You are a horrible person. So I hope you can sit there with the consequences of your betrayal and maybe realize that you're the problem. So, yeah, did you see him taking pictures of himself praying? He's in Saudi Arabia, and he's taking pictures of himself praying. It's like, I don't think that counts. I'm on the spiritual retreat, but first, let me take a selfie. Really? Really, nigga? Before Sneeko does anything pious, but first, let me take a selfie. Everything, every time. Let's go and pray in public. Let's go and pray in the mosque, but first I got to set up my tripod. Oh, it's time to say our morning prayers. Quick, get the live stream on. I'm going to raise money for Palestine. Just make sure you put my face and my name all over it so everyone knows I did it. Vanity. All is vanity. So, yeah, Sneeko is a girl.
Burner Clips sent $20. Thanks for lighting a fire under my ass with your Just Start speech last week. Started a clipping account on Insta for you too.
Nice. Good work. It applies to everything, though. I love to hear that. Get it going, man. Get it going. Get it going. Time waits for no one. Time waits, but not for long. And it's crazy how people just fuck around and waste time. And waste everything, you know. Got to lock in. You got to focus up.
Lori Lightfoot sent $50. The 2020 election.
Get like you're going to die. Get real. Some people, it's like you're going to die and your legacy was that you watch TV. Right? If you died tomorrow, what would your legacy be? You like worked at a company? You know? You doom scrolled on Instagram. That's your legacy. You could die. We're all going to die. You're going to die. You are going to die. What you are, I once was. What I am, you will be. You will die. People never think about that. And it's like, so yeah, listen, it's okay. I mean, some people don't have much of a legacy, but you got to try. You got to think like that. You got to make the most of it. So anyway, I'm glad to hear it. What evidence? Oh, I didn't even pay attention to this.
Lori Lightfoot sent $50. The 2020 election conspiracy you believe in is just as cringe as the Charlie Kirk conspiracies. What evidence do you have that the Trump DOJ investigation, recounts, and audits missed?
Well, first of all, they destroyed the evidence. So when we found that out, by the time the DOJ went to Fulton County, they destroyed all the ballots. The recounts, listen, if there was fraud, the recount doesn't find the fraud. Okay, on a mechanical level, all a recount does is it takes all the votes that they had and it counts them again. Our problem is not that they were counted wrong. Our problem is that there were votes in there that shouldn't have been in there. You only find that out with a forensic audit. And as far as the audits, there were no independent forensic audits in any state. There was no independent ballot audit in any of those states. So you just don't, this is just like some libtard thing where you're like, well, in spite of all, it's like, there never was an independent ballot audit in any of these states. So at the end of the day, here's the problem, okay? 70% of the votes came in by mail. How much did voter turnout increase that year? I think it went up from like 120 million to 160 million. It was record turnout. The proportion of absentee ballots doubled. It was 35% in 2016. It was 70% in 2020. So the number of votes cast increased dramatically, and the number of votes cast by mail doubled. The proportion of votes by mail doubled. And if you pay attention to how they conducted that election, they sent the absentee ballots out by mail. You can't do that. You've broken the chain of custody. You can get an absentee ballot traditionally if you request one with a valid reason. In-person absentee is very rare, or was very rare up until 2020. It was increasing in different jurisdictions, but it was rare. It used to be the case that to get an absentee ballot, you need an excuse. You need to order one in advance. And this time they just sent everyone a ballot. They sent ballots in the mail. So you don't know who's getting them. You don't know who's signing them. You don't know who's ticking off the box. And then they say, yeah, just drop off the vote in this drop box. It's unsupervised. There's 5,000 of them. And you can drop it off for a month, up to a month before the election. You've broken the chain of custody. You're sending ballots out and then you're getting them back in a drop box. You don't know what happened in the intervening time. So the way it works is you're supposed to go present an ID, get your ballot, fill it out at the polling location under supervision, and then return the ballot. That's the only way you have a free and fair election. They don't even have it in Europe for that reason. It would be like if you got your final exams in college in the mail. Imagine if your professor mailed you a college exam and said, yeah, just drop it off in this drop box next to the grocery store anytime for 30 days and there's no cameras. It's like you could have anyone take the test and anyone could dump it off. It would not be a legitimate test. Same thing here. So, yeah, so there's tons of problems with how that election was conducted. You just can't trust it.
Penny roll grow sent $50. Can white dude state wations? Asking for a friend.
No, thank you.
Lombard grow sent $20. New merch is sweet. Got the hot dog joint shirt.
Sweet. Lombard Groiper. Man, it's a whole Chicago
Judge
suburbs
Holden
are
Roof
out
sent
here.
$20. I want Candace Owens to save you from the streets of Chicago and nurse you back to health.
I'm
Lion and
good.
Sheep's Clothing sent $50. W endorsement of Lion's Den, Nick. Because you're very busy and can't always have your hand on the pulse of things, we try to lead the way for other grow-wipers and boy
Right.
pets. Don't worry, we
Right.
got this.
Thanks.
White Sox grow sent $20. Did the Channel 5 guy make a funny face to the camera after you made a point? Really hate his fake centrist liberal act slash.
He was nice. He was nice to me. I liked him a lot, actually. I thought we got along. He seemed authentic. But I'm not going to give any spoilers about the interview.
Sir Groy sent $20. You have great music taste. Lobby playlist has perfect balance of fun EDM, Indian, darker underground. Fits this scene well.
Thanks.
The Final Pill sent $20. The ascension is real as evidenced by the expensive super chats recently.
Maybe.
Sneaky Sneeko sent $25. Yo man, it's me Jar Jar. I stopped talking to you and everyone. I realized Jesus didn't use social media. Look at me, I'm
Dude,
like
he
Jesus.
is Jar Jar Binks.
Dunker Dachshund sent $20. Know a club here in Tokyo you can play HH and not have an obnoxious chopped Israeli ask you to apologize for it. Less than 3.
Good to know.
Poop Groy sent $20. Not to Jester Max. But take a sip of water for the first time ever. My roommate. Fishback
Okay.
2026 sent $20. What they did to Trump in 2016 is similar to what they're doing to Fishback in modern day.
Similar.
Bruce Ningsworth sent $25. Dan will be punching the air tomorrow since you explained the Lindsey Graham situation. I wish more people understood you.
Me too. Hey, yeah, don't we
The
all?
Highland Park Stalker sent $20. Nick, your Brutalist Tower is on sale in Lake Forest, 51 South Mayflower Road. I know we can make it happen. Check out the house.
Oh, okay. Let me buy the house that you just posted the address of it. Thanks. Well done. This is not brutalism, bro. What do you? Okay, you don't even know. This is like Spanish Revival. You don't even know anything about architecture. This is a beautiful house, but that's not brutalism. Bro saw the exposed brick and said, "That's brutalist is when they use bricks. Brutalist is when they use stone into construction. This is literally just because it's brick doesn't mean it's brutalist." Genius. Look at the roof, bro. Look at the roof. Look at the wall. What is that, like plaster walls and terracotta roof tile? Like that's clearly Spanish. Just because it's exposed brick. It's beautiful, but that's not brutalism at all. Let's see. Oh, no, it's Italian. Italian at, well, it's close enough. Designed by David Adler's The Coach House, blah, blah, blah. The 5-story Italianate-style residence overlooks nearly an acre of private wooded grounds, culminating in the famous tower, which features expansive views of the lake and surrounding estate. Blah, blah, blah. You know how I can acquire this property? Well, let me know. I mean, I'm not going to move there. I don't know. Seems a little too big. I only need a house with like 3 rooms. Bedroom, bathroom, rumpus room. That's it. I need a room for my bed. I need a room with a toilet. And then I need a room that has like an LED video wall, a hot tub, a sauna, a jacuzzi, a pool, a gym. That all should be one room. I don't need all the rooms, you know.
Diddy Sprinkles sent $200. Goat.
Thank you for the big super chat, the goat. Appreciate
Top
it.
Shelf Tucker Alperson sent $20. God bless.
Thanks.
Nick's Kneecaps sent $20. Can I see your kneecaps? Dowtsider sent $100. Dear Nick, have you heard about the new law in China, the ethnic unity law? Could STH, like this be a model for the West? I hope you're having a good summer. Stay safe and be blessed.
I haven't heard of that, but I appreciate the big super
Goyam88
chat.
sent $20. We are Lindsey Graham. We carry the AIDS. We fight for the Jews. We die for Ukraine.
Okay.
Igor Tigger sent $20. Graham also said funding Ukraine, aka killing Russians, was the best money we've ever spent. As a half-Russian grower, I disavow.
And he literally said because we're killing them. He said we're paying money to kill them, which is
Kentucky
nice.
grower sent $20. Do you consider military officer a viable path in your march through the institutions if someone isn't of Ivy League quality?
Totally, 100%.
Bankhack grower
yes.
sent $20. Nick, can you briefly talk about or explain this proposed Israel-U.S. military merger and its likelihood of passing?
I've read it, and it seems to be light on specifics. It just says that they're going to do intelligence sharing and military coordination, but they're already doing that. That's the thing. The Israeli military works like this with CENTCOM. Israeli intelligence works like this with NSA, CIA, DIA. So the actual provision, if you read it, is not very specific. And as far as its likelihood of passing, I have been tracking it. But obviously I oppose
Igor
it.
Tigger sent $20. Also, Russia's doomsday plane just landed in Tehran today. Very curious.
I didn't see that
African-American
either.
1092 sent $20. Leaving pro-Israel cause. They're gonna kill me. Israel's Mo. BB does PBD and Tatum but not CK show? Shot by trans ally during trans question. Pusa/Erica acting Sus AF. Yay, no coincidences here.
Like I said, we've done it to death. If you don't agree, you're an idiot.
Russ will send $30. Lindsay was owned, completely obedient, and a well-loved slave. Anyone owned by that same master will bless and praise him. Liberty Groyer sent $100. This flock camera LARP is getting out of hand. Sure, let's go to jail just to make a stupid point about mass surveillance. Remember the guy who set himself on fire? Yeah, me neither.
Thanks for the big super chat. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. It used to be the case that you were a Fed if you encourage people to commit crimes. Now you're a Fed if you encourage people not to commit crimes, right? It used to be the case that you were selling out if you started supporting Israel. Now you're a sellout if you tell people, hey, don't commit a federal crime. Which, by the way, doesn't even make sense. If you destroy a flock camera, your city has to pay to replace it. It's like, you ever see that scene in The Sopranos when they try to shake down Starbucks? And they go, what if, God forbid, someone smashed your front window? And the guy goes, yeah, they'll just replace it. Like it's Starbucks. It's a national, what do you think is going to happen? You think it's coming out of my ass? You know, they're like, what if we beat up the manager? He's like, well, they'll just hire someone else. Same thing. And people go, well, I saw all the replies to that clip. They say, this guy doesn't want us to do anything. I'm like, I don't want you to commit crimes, one. And two, that's just not gonna work. Okay? They're installing thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And if one of them gets destroyed, they'll replace it. It's very fucking lucrative to them. And where does that go next? I mean, what do you think that is gesturing towards? You get people to start smashing flock cameras. What's the next step in the master plan? We're going to start taking out the power grid. We're going to start blowing up cop cars. I mean, seriously. And this is, by the way, the people that... Has Dan Bilzerian destroyed a single flock camera? Fuck no. Absolutely not. But he's going to go on Twitter and LARP about it like he's a tough guy. Oh, definitely don't destroy a flock camera, wink, wink. Yeah, you're supposed to. You're the idiot. Some other idiot's supposed to go and do it. Some gullible idiot is supposed to go and do it, get caught and go to jail. And the guy that's winking and nodding at everybody, he's not doing that. He's not fucking destroying any flock cameras. So it's just like, honestly, it's tiresome. And I'm almost sick of responding to it. They call me a Fed because I'm telling you not to commit a federal crime. It's the opposite. Isn't that so funny? I'm a Fed because on J6 I told people to go to the Capitol. I'm a Fed now because I'm telling people not to destroy flock cameras. Okay. It's just meaningless at this point. I just ignore them.
Wholesome Inch sent $20. Lindsey Graham was reincarnated as Ben Shapiro's child.
I heard
Leviticus
that joke
Cornwall
on
68
Twitter.
sent $20. I heard a theory that Israel killed Lindsey Graham. His mic exploded and hit him in the neck.
Wow, that's a really good premise. Genius. Well
Kazak sent
constructed.
$50. Do you think Graham had too much bacon on his cheeseburgers? Being from the South, he may have skipped on the cheese bread and blueberries/orange juice and went straight for the Bacon Kings.
I don't know what any of that means.
Base Tread Kaftan 152 sent $20. Are the Hunter Biden rumors true?
Perhaps.
Rape African American faggot Sneeko sent $20. Thanks for the show.
Thanks.
UW sent $100. Congrats on 1,000 GC members.
Thanks for the big super chat. Appreciate it. Yes. Well, hey, why are we pocket
David Roy
watching?
sent $20. This whole ISIS controlled by Israel narrative is mind-bending. It is becoming gospel among the populist left.
I know, dude. It's so bad.
Don't tread on me sent $20. You are rock hard in a place between chocolate cheeks and
All right.
Stealth Black sent $20. Am I really to believe you and Hunter Biden had a nigga moment in motel room and he chimped out on you?
Hey, what? Why are you trying to get me to spoil it, huh?
Nicker Goy sent $50. Suit combo ascension has been in line with the physical ascension. Did you actually know Corey Unbroken? She sounds like she wants to cling onto your coattails for whatever minimal clout she can get.
Did you read the DMs? I know. I don't know. The shit that people make up, and people just believe it. People just make up literally anything, And people go, oh, yeah, sounds legit.
BB Shapiro-Stein sent $20. You ignore Charlie's clear shift on Israel seen on shows in the days leading up to his death.
I addressed it last week,
FFF sent $20. Can we get a preview of the Channel 5 interview? Arlington Heights Grower percent.
Yeah, why not? Oh
Arlington Heights Grower percent $20. Interview nearly turned into an Irish bar fight, lol. Can't wait for it to come out. Yoho 99 sent $50. You call out CK skeptics for quickly rejecting the government story, yet PUSA and influencers have lied and done the same, insisting DR's guilt without seeing any evidence or addressing many counter-arguments.
No, they actually have evidence. That's the difference. Without seeing any evidence, you want to know the evidence they have? They have the testimony of Lance Twiggs. They have a written confession. They have a confession over text. They have DNA on the rifle. They have the rifle at the scene of the crime. They have the recovered bullet fragments. Tyler Robinson turned himself in with his parents. And they have security camera footage of him 5 times leading up to the shooting. So, no, they have evidence. You have nothing. Your evidence is circumstantial at best. Well, consequently, at the same time that Charlie died, he might have been changing his mind. So Israel killed him. Like, no, there's no both sides in this one. One side has evidence. You are trying desperately to poke holes in it when you really don't have anything substantial, and you have no alternative theory, let alone evidence.
Skinny Fat sent $20. Tell us your meal plan or we will continue to think you're... Mr. Detailed sent $20. Tyler Robinson bullshit timeline has been completely destroyed by Baron Coleman and all the employees from the steakhouse Tyler was at. The HD video came out and it's a complete joke.
No, it didn't. The HD video did not come out. And the timeline did not get destroyed by anybody.
Mersad sent $20.
And you're an idiot.
Mersad sent $20. Interviewer, how do you not see all the hate comments about you? Clav, I can't read Hebrew. Fire emoji.
The goat, man. The goat.
Dynamo sent $50. You're majorly... Malo Baby sent $20. Matthew 18:24 where 2 or 3 come together in my name, I am there with them. Rajak Finner sent $20. Can you explain the Ladybug reference to Lindsey Graham?
No.
Zach AF sent $20. Cheer and weep for Trump or get exiled by McGaw like he's Kim Jong-un. But we don't get a border or cool military parades.
True. Okay, that's our last super chat. Jeez. That sucks so hard. They were good right up until the end, and then we just got the idiots. Well, that's our last super chat. That's going to do it for me. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. Tomorrow I'll be early. Remember, 9:30 p.m. Central. Check out our brand new merch collection, Fuentes.store. Thank you to our top super chatters. Huge thank you to Diversity Stole My Bike, Soy Goy, Titty Sprinkles, 6 or 7 million, Knife Basket, Naperville Groiper, Reductionist Groiper, Fat Gay Wigger, Holland, Lysol, Doutsider, Liberty Groiper, and UW. Thanks to them. Thanks to all our super chatters, everybody that watches. We love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. It's going to be only America first. America first. The American people will come first once again.